Hello and welcome to Intermittent Fasting for the Win. I'm your host, Mike Saunders, and I'm thrilled to be here with you. My co host is Jelene Wygan, an experienced faster and fitness coach. We'll be interviewing fellow fasters from all walks of life, shining a light on their progress, their struggles, and their victories. We'll get their tips, tricks, and plenty more to help make you a winner with intermittent fasting. Today, we'll be speaking with Cheryl Land. Cheryl is a recovery nurse in the medical profession. She's been fasting for 4 years now. She has a lot of interesting things to say about it. So let's dive into the conversation with Cheryl right now. Okay. Good morning, Cheryl.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good. Got a little sinus thing going on, but other than that, we're all okay.
All right.
Well, listen, let's just jump right into it. What inspired you to try intermittent fasting in the first place?
Well, basically, I really wasn't looking for anything. I've always been into health and fitness since I was about 18 years old. I've always been, joined a gym. I never had a weight problem, although I was always very weight conscious. Like I always, would exercise and eat decent. I got married at the age of 25 and I went through some fertility stuff to have kids. So I didn't have my first kid until I was 33 years old. And of course, I had to do a lot of like different hormones and stuff that I had to take for that. I had my first daughter at 33 and then my son at 36. And probably that's when I really started to have to do something about my weight. I didn't get like really overweight. The highest I got, so my pregnancy weights were like 175. The highest I got was about 163 after not being pregnant, which for me, was too heavy. My clothes didn't fit. I didn't feel good. Um, and so from then on, from the age of 33 on, I have done many, many different things, to try to control my weight. Um, Starting with like Slim Fast years ago, we all did the Slim Fast diet. Took fat blockers. I remember taking something called Ally that you would take after a meal to try to block some of the fat. I've done Body for Life. I've done the South Beach diet. I've done Weight Watchers multiple times. I would do it for a while, I'd lose the weight, and then I would kind of not do it, and then it would come back. So I probably have done Weight Watchers like 4 or 5 times. I've done multiple beach body programs, and at one point I was even a beach body coach. I didn't really do a lot of coaching. I did it mainly so I could buy their Shakeology. I did that, for a while. Did all the little container thing, the 21-day fixed container program, um, counted calories, macros, all that stuff. Did something called Diet Bets, an online program where you put money in, and at the end of the program, if you had lost the weight, then you got some money back or a little bit more. And I always did get the money back and a little bit more. But then I would, go back to my usual habits and then it would come back on. Um, Always, have been reading diet books and that kind of thing. Um, so how I got to fasting was so after COVID, after that whole thing with COVID, I probably was up to my highest weight, about 163. And I was walking one day listening to a podcast, and it was Lisa Lillian, Hungry Girl. I don't know if you've ever heard of Hungry Girl. But she had mentioned that she was doing this intermittent fasting. And, I listened. I didn't really pay much attention to it, but the seed was kind of planted then. So then maybe a couple of weeks later, I was at work. I'm a nurse, and I was at work, and one of my coworkers was looking really good. And so I asked her, I said, "Hey, what you been doing? You look really good." And so she told me, "Oh, I've been doing this thing called intermittent fasting." And she even gave me the names of Jen Stevens' books, both Delay, Don't Deny and
Yeah.
Fast Feast Repeat. Yeah, that had just come out. So that just kind of went over my head. I didn't really pay much attention to it, but again, there was that word intermittent fasting. Maybe a couple weeks or a month or so later, I was in the grocery store, and at the checkout counter, there was the magazines there, and there was one on intermittent fasting. And I thumbed through it, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy this. It sounds intriguing. I'll read about it. So took it home that afternoon. I sat down on my front porch and I was reading through it. And it also mentioned Jen's books. And there were a lot of good articles about the benefits of it and, what it does in your body and stuff. And I thought, wow, that sounds kind of interesting. I think I might try this. And that was May 13th of 2021. And then I thought, well, my birthday is May 16th. I can't start this now. I'm gonna have a birthday in a couple of weeks. Well, then I was thinking, well, Cheryl, no, you can do that. You can still have your cake. You can just have it in your eating window. So that day, I probably hadn't eaten yet. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to start today. And so I did. And I basically started with a 16/8. Um, and I don't know, for me, it was pretty easy. I think maybe the first 3 or 4 days have a little bit of a headache, felt hungry, but it just kind of pushed through it. And then the other thing is I also that day ordered Jen's book, Fast Feast Repeat. And I believe it came like maybe the next day or a couple days later. And I sat down and read that book probably in like 2 days. And it was just so interesting. And being a nurse and having a health background and then kind of could understand some of the science, I was just like, wow, this really sounds like something that's really good. And so I kept going. And after probably about a week or so, I upped it to like 18/6, and I found it really easy. Yeah, I did get hungry a little bit, but like Jen says, hunger is not an emergency. And I would just kind of make myself busy or, drink some more water, have another cup of black coffee. And I did get the message of the clean fast pretty much from the get-go. Um, so what I did in the beginning was I do like coffee with creamer and stuff in it. And so what I did in the beginning was I just didn't drink my coffee until I opened my eating window.
Wow.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, but then later, I was like, well, I really kind of miss my coffee in the morning. And so I started drinking black coffee a little bit. And I'm like, I don't really love it. I can tolerate it, but I don't really love it. But I still do drink black coffee in the morning, 1 cup in the morning, and it takes me like hours to drink it because I just kind of sip on it. And I just use it mainly as just something to like if I get a little hungry, it kind of quells that hunger. But what I did do is I found a good brand. It's a low acid organic coffee that I really like. So I'm like, if I'm gonna drink black coffee, then I'm gonna drink something that's good. And so
Well, let me ask you, the protocol that you're using now, are you still doing 18/6 or what?
so I my fasts vary every single day. No 2 days are ever the same for me. My goal is to have a minimum of 18 hours. Some days I go up, like the other day, I had a day where I had my hair done and I didn't want to eat before I went. And by the time I finished, I was at 22 and a half hours. And I was a little hungry, but I was fine. So then I came home, and actually that day my husband and I went out to eat, which we rarely eat out, but I really didn't feel like cooking that day. So we went out to eat that day. But that day I did OMAD.
So, do you use a timer or an app?
I do. I have the Zero app that I have, and I've done like over 1,400 fasts total.
Oh
So
my,
May 13th will be 4 years that I'll have my fast anniversary, May 13th, my
okay.
4 year fast anniversary. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's just awesome. So like you say, and I'm the same way. My schedule will vary from day to day. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people that's true for them also, and there's nothing to worry about because it's your body responds and everything works as long as you're fasting.
Right. And so I also am a turtle at losing weight. I didn't have a lot of weight to lose, but I did lose about 12 pounds. It took the whole first year to do that, which was fine with me. I wasn't in a major hurry. And what was I going to say? So yeah, I've lost about 12 pounds the first year. So I've been pretty much like in a maintenance thing for the last 3 years. And I would like to lose like another 10 or 15 pounds, and I know what I need to do it. I just haven't settled down to do it. I'm just, I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing. I eat pretty much what I want. Um, and I fluctuate within 5 pounds, I would
Well,
say.
are you happy with yourself?
I am. I
Well,
am. Yeah.
that's what really, really matters.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people it's all right to set a goal like I want to be at this pound level. I said, but if you never get to that, but you get to a place where you what I call ideal body weight, uh,
Right.
then you should be happy with that.
Yeah. And I am. My BMI is teetering right on the edge, of being at my goal, at my weight, or just maybe a slight bit overweight. But the other thing with me is I'll be 57 in May. And so I'm going through the whole menopause thing, and that's really affected it. And so one of the main things that I say that fasting has done for me is to keep me from gaining weight in menopause. It's kept me steady.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's true for a lot of people. Uh, I, I joke with Martin Share. We joke privately about how both of us have learned so much about menopause by being in these Facebook groups.
Right.
They tend to be more women than men, and the women are going through this stuff, and we
Right.
learn about it through that. But well, let me ask you, how do you handle hunger or craving? Like when you're at work, you
Yeah.
drink a big
Um,
old glass of water, or what do you do?
yeah, and at work, people are always eating. Somebody's always bringing us some goodies.
Oh yeah,
And I have the mindset, delay, don't deny. If there's something I really want, then I'll have it during my eating window. If I'm hungry, like I say, I just, drink some more water. I make myself busy. I get busy doing something, and then I forget about it, and then, 10, 15 minutes later, I'm not even hungry anymore.
yeah.
And if
It's
I am truly hungry, like it won't go away, then I might break my fast. But
well, there
yeah,
is such a thing as true hunger, and then there's just a hunger pain. That's
right,
and like you said, it's going to go away in just a few minutes if you just ignore it.
right. Yep.
So so what? Tell me your favorite non-scale victory.
My favorite non-scale victory, number one, is the freedom from having to count calories, count macros, carry food with me, obsess about what I'm going to be eating. I just kind of go with the flow. I do plan. I try to plan the day before, what I'm going to have the next day. But I don't have to carry snacks with me all the time. If I travel, I just fast while I'm traveling and I eat something good when I get there. So that's the biggest thing is the freedom from the food noise, from having to figure out, and count and all that stuff. Because I used to have an app, where I'd count every calorie. At the end of the day, I'd check my macros to see if I was in within my macros. Now I don't count anything. I just eat.
That's
Either I'm eating or I'm not eating.
that lifestyle where you have to count everything. That's no way to live, really.
No,
Uh,
no.
uh. So, how about your energy levels now that you're intermittent fasting?
Well, the thing with me is my energy levels really have always been high. Like I've never been one to take naps and stuff like that. But I do believe that probably at this age and stuff, fasting has kept my energy levels up. I feel like sometimes I can run circles around people that are younger than me, coworkers, and so that hasn't been much of an issue, but I do feel like it's definitely keeping it up.
What about the types of food that you eat?
Type of food I eat, I generally eat healthy, and definitely fasting has made me want to eat more healthy. And I've been doing a deep dive lately into gut health and eating processed foods and stuff. I've read several different books on that. But I do, for the most part, eat very healthy. I eat everything. I don't restrict anything at all. I, try to include mostly plant-based stuff in my diet, but I do eat meat. I
Do
do
you
have,
eat do you eat any fermented foods?
I do. I've started to try to incorporate sauerkraut. I like sauerkraut.
Hmm.
I'll try to, eat like a spoonful a day when I remember. I do buy kefir sometimes, kefir, and
Yeah,
I'll drink that sometimes. What else? Kimchi. I'm not real big on. My husband likes it, but to me, it's a little too spicy. I don't know, too garlicky maybe. I love garlic, but it's just a little too much.
yeah,
I've tried it.
I love it.
I know, I know you do. Yeah.
Listen, what is an unexpected benefit that you've gained from intermittent fasting that you did not anticipate?
Um, Unexpected benefit, I would say, just not having to carry snacks with me all the time, basically, because like I always carried a little thing of nuts, a little thing of grapes with me everywhere I went in case I was going to be gone too long and I needed to eat. So that's really a good unexpected benefit. It's like, oh, now I'm, freedom. I don't have to worry about it. I just leave the house with my water, go do what I need to do, and that's it.
Well, now, being in the nursing profession, you come in contact with people who hypoglycemia, when their blood sugar crashes, and you've come in contact with that. And intermittent fasting will level all of that out. But
Right.
I'm sure that you run across people who are tending to get hypoglycemic if they don't eat something. And
Yeah, once in a while. In my line of work, I do recovery room. So I'm recovering people from surgery. So most people I come in contact with are pretty sleepy, kind of out of it. I'm helping them
Mhm.
wake up and stuff. Every once in a while, I'll get a patient that's pretty alert and awake, and conversant, talking to them. And every once in a great while, intermittent fasting will come up. Well, it'll lead to that. And I just kind of, if they are interested, I might talk a little about it. But if I could tell them I'm not interested, then, I'm not going to push it or anything. Um, yeah, the hypoglycemia thing, I don't know. Like you said, I feel like if people that are that way would give it the chance, that yes, it would level it out, and
Yes, yes.
it
Now,
would be
also,
okay.
this question wasn't on the list that I sent you, but I think it's a good question. Within the medical profession, which you're a part of by being a nurse, within the medical profession, do you think the that the amount of doctors and nurses who are learning about intermittent fasting is starting to rise?
I think a little bit, especially the nurses, like several of my coworkers, I think have tried it, but I don't think they've put their all into it. They'll try it here and there. I really haven't talked to many of the doctors about it, but I do notice that a lot of the doctors and nurses will go around drinking energy drinks and
Mm,
sodas,
yeah,
and I just cringe, you know? I'm
yeah,
like, I don't know, it's sad that they don't know enough about nutrition to even not do that themselves.
yeah.
You know?
Now, and that's true. I'm thankful. We go tomorrow for our physical. My wife and I, our little doctor, she likes to have us both in the room at the same time so we can rat each other out.
Yeah,
And her nurse, now my doctor, she doesn't need intermittent fasting. She's a little tiny thing, but her nurse, the one that always weighs us in and everything, she's an intermittent faster. She lost like
that's
50
good.
pounds on it.
Awesome.
And she understands it, and my doctor understands it,
Yeah.
and I'm very
Actually,
fortunate.
my personal physician, I go in and get my labs checked and tell him what I do, and he's really on board with it and is really um definitely promotes it. But he said that even he has a hard time I'm doing it. He said, "You are just so disciplined." It's like, I'm so proud of you. And also my GYN doctor, she's really, really, good on with it.
Well, it's,
So
people say, well, you're so disciplined with it or this, that, and the other. They just don't understand that after a certain amount of time, it almost becomes automatic.
exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
now
I don't even
listen,
think about it.
yeah, for someone who's curious about trying intermittent fasting, what's the one word of advice you would give them?
My main advice is definitely read Jen Stevens' books and Graham Curry's books, and just research and really understand the benefits, and the thing with keeping your insulin levels low and fat burning. Just really do your research and understand why you're doing it and how good it is for you. And definitely community, talking to people who are doing the same thing you are, and just also letting them know that it's not a one size fits all. Everybody's different. Everybody needs to find out what works best for them. Um,
So true, so true. All of us are different. All of
yeah.
us are different. That's just like breaking your fast. What's your favorite thing to break your fast with?
I really don't have a favorite thing to break my fast with. My days, it depends on whether I'm at home or at work. So if I am at work, I generally have to eat my lunch at 11 because I'm first one to get there, so I'm first lunch. And so I'll break my fast with a good lunch. 90% of the time I bring my own lunch with me, healthy food. Sometimes I'll go down to the cafeteria. Like the other day, they had a really good salmon bowl that was really good.
Oh,
Um, yeah, and then so if I'm at work, I break my fast with my meal, and then before I end my eating window, I have a good snack like some yogurt and berries and granola and a bunch of nuts and different things. Now, if I'm at home, then I will break my fast with a snack. Nuts, yogurt, sometimes a smoothie, and then I'll cook a dinner, and I'll have
mhm.
close my window with a dinner.
Well, listen, this has been such a good interview, and you've given us a lot to think about, and I certainly do appreciate you coming on here today with me, and I hope that this blesses a lot of people out there. And I just want to thank you for doing it with me.
Well, thank you so much. It's been my pleasure.
If you need more information on fasting and want to join a group of people who embrace this lifestyle, let us recommend that you go to Facebook and search for Intermittent Fasting for the Win, and also search for Clean Fasting Jolene. Either of these groups will help you along the way. We also recommend that you read Jen Stevens' books, Delay, Don't Deny, and Fast, Feast, Repeat. Both of these books will give you valuable information to help you in your intermittent fasting journey.